Hello there, I sure hope you're doing okay today. I want to share some thoughts about equity with you. We hear a lot about equity, particularly now in our policies, in our politics, in our sports, oh my, in appointments, in all kinds of practices. And I've been giving a lot of thought to it. I think I have some things that you might find of value. We know equity is part of the DEI package, the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm going to assume you know what those stand for, but diversity is the differences that are seen in each community. Equity has to do with that being impartial, and inclusion is people feeling like they belong. Well, those are not new thoughts. Equity is not a new thought. It was actually shared firstly by Aristotle, and Aristotle talked about there being two kinds of equity. There's the numerical kind of equity, and that's the equity where everybody is treated the same. And then there's proportional equity, and that's based on need. In other words, if you need more, you'll be given more, and if you need less, you'll be given less. So that equity idea is kind of not really anything new. It's just been added to since 1970 or 1995. And the reason it's been such a big deal for all of us in our thinking is because we've learned that we now all carry around these implicit biases, and we know we have our own stereotypes, and we know we have cultural differences and awarenesses, and then the new big word, of course, is microaggressions. But the whole purpose of all of those words and thoughts that have come around lately is is two-pronged. Number one, for us to realize that we really do need a difference in voices. We need to see that everybody is being taken care of and everybody's voice is heard. And the second thing they say that DEI is supposed to help us with is to transform society so that we'll truly be a just society. Now hang with me here, because if those are the two goals, all of this stuff about equity, if those are the goals, I'm here to suggest to you something kind of shocking, and that is that this whole DEI stuff that we've been fed, and particularly equity that we've been fed, I believe is a counterfeit. Stay with me. It's a counterfeit. I believe it's fake. I believe it's a copy. I believe it's false information. Why do I believe that? Why do I believe it's a counterfeit? Because when Jesus walked on the earth, he told us to seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Don't turn this off yet. Righteousness is a word that means, guess what? Equity. Righteousness means equity. It's that Greek word dikaiosune, which is an acceptance. It's a state of him who is as he ought to be. It is an equitable state. Jesus was saying, if you seek first his kingdom, the kingdom of God and his righteousness, then everything else will be added to you. I am suggesting to you what Romans teaches us, that the kingdom of God is righteousness, peace, and joy. What am I saying? I'm saying the kingdom of God, Jesus' way of living, is equity. Jesus' way of living shows us what true diversity is. Jesus' way of living shows us what inclusion really looks like. Jesus' kingdom is really where we see the trueness of equity, diversity, and inclusion. In the kingdom of God, we see impartiality. We realize there are no differences because there are diverse gifts, that everybody is accepted and everybody belongs, that stereotypes are broken. Jesus broke down cultural animosities. He addressed the implicit biases in his disciples, and he even addressed the harassment. You talk about Jesus' disciples being diverse followers. Gosh, he had doctors and lawyers. He had tax collectors and prostitutes and lepers and soldiers and fishermen and robbers. He had men and women. He had all kinds of ethnicities represented, my friend. Diversity is in Jesus' kingdom. Jesus wasn't colorblind. He was color brave. He taught about there being one body. And he said, I can't say to someone else in the body, I don't need you. He said, you can't live like that. He said, there should be no division in the body. He said we should show the same care one for another. That's impartiality. That's inequity. That's equity. In Jesus' kingdom, in Jesus' view, the marginalized and the outcasts are taken care of. There's no boundaries. Every boundary is rolled back, and the categories that we put people in are torn down in Jesus' kingdom. All the societal norms are flattened out. Nobody's higher and nobody's lower because Jesus equalized us all. Romans tells us that Jesus' equity, his righteousness, has been revealed. My friend, that's what our nation needs. Our nation needs the righteousness of God. It needs the equity of God. That's the only way that we will ever experience true DEI in our nation or in our life, is through Jesus Christ. Because all differences are by his design. He designed us in his image. He is impartial, and he's called all of us without partiality into his kingdom. We all can be part of his family. He values you and he values me. You see, it's only through him, my friend, it's only through Jesus that we will see society a truly just place. In fact, Proverbs 14 tells us it's righteousness that exalts a nation. It's Jesus's equity that will exalt a nation. And so, my friend, Jesus offers you and offers me real equity, real diversity, and real inclusion. Not the